Inside today's video, we're going to discuss what to wear when you go to court, whether you're representing yourself or going to give testimony as a witness. Hi, my name is Peter Lamont. I'm the host of UTL Radio, and today we're going to continue our series about going to court and what to expect. Today we're going to discuss something that seems relatively simple, what to wear when you go to court, but I can only tell you how many times I've been in court and there's been a pro se litigant or a witness coming to the stand, and the judge either criticizes the way that person's dressed, or it has an impact on the credibility of the witness and an impact on how the jury perceives that testimony. So before I talk about what to wear, I just want to explain why it's important to look a certain way when you go to court. So first of all, for attorneys, there's an unspoken dress code. I've been in courtrooms before where, I'll give you an example, a perfect example. There was a court matter where an attorney was not expected to be in the court on this particular day, but it was an emergency thing, and this lawyer who was dressed casually, had khaki pants on, and just a button-down shirt with no tie, was in his office. The court called and said, "There's an emergency hearing, we need you down here right now." He didn't have time to go home, so he went to court with an overcoat on, no tie, shirt and pants, and the judge insisted that he take his jacket off, and the attorney said, "Your Honor, I'd prefer not to." And it was a whole big to-do, and this guy got abused because he wouldn't take his overcoat off. And then eventually he had to say to the judge, "Judge, it was an emergency and I didn't have a suit jacket or a tie." And the judge, even though it was an emergency, still gave him a hard time. So there's this unspoken dress code for attorneys where women are expected to wear some form of business suit, whether it's a skirt or a pantsuit, and men are expected to wear a sports jacket or a suit jacket, a tie, a dress shirt, and pants. Now, it's a little bit different for somebody who's representing themselves pro se, but there's a reason why you want to look a certain way. First reason is you want to give a good impression to the judge. You want the judge to see you as someone who is taking your representation very seriously. If you're representing yourself, you don't want to go in and be underdressed. And you also don't want to go in looking ridiculous, wearing a tuxedo or something like that. You want to blend in. You want to kind of look like an attorney does. So for men, the best thing to do is to wear a pair of dress pants, a button-down shirt and tie, and a sports jacket or a suit. If you don't have a suit, you can wear a pair of khaki pants or gray pants and a blue blazer, something that doesn't make you stand out in the crowd or make people talk about you. You just want to kind of blend in, and you want to look like an attorney. Now, if you're a woman, you'd want to wear something similar, dress pants or slacks, maybe a skirt and a top. You don't need a suit or a suit jacket. Judges understand when you're representing yourself pro se that you might not have an attorney's wardrobe, or you might not know what to wear, but there is a level of expectation that if you're going to be going to a courthouse representing yourself, the judge expects that you know what you're doing, at least on a basic level. And coming to court not dressed appropriately is one of those things that kind of just sends a judge off for no reason. Any of you guys see My Cousin Vinny? If you remember the character of Vinny, played by Joe Pesci, when he went to court the first time, and remember he had never been to court, he came in with a leather jacket on, and the judge gave him a hard time and told him not to come back to his courtroom. And it was a comedy, but that's kind of what happens. So if you give a judge an initial impression of you not being serious or not taking what you're doing seriously, they might not pay as much attention to you as if you blended in, you just came dressed appropriately and tried to fit in. Now, the other reason that you want to dress appropriately is in a situation where you're going to be giving testimony, or you're going to be appealing to a jury, or to another party. You don't want to go in looking silly or out of place, because the jury might not even hear what you're saying. They might be so distracted by the way you're dressed. I had a case where I was representing a defendant, and the plaintiff was pro se, so he was representing himself. And he came to court with this gold sequence type jacket on. It was so sparkly and shiny and silly that nobody could take him seriously. And you could look over at the jury and see them all snickering, with this guy. He would have been better off to just come in and if he didn't have another sports jacket, he would have been better off to come in with just a button-down shirt. But that silly element, and I'm not knocking his jacket, maybe he really loves that jacket, but to a jury, to an average person, when you come into court with a sequence jacket like you're, going to be going to the disco, it's just distracting, to say the least. And you also don't convey that level of seriousness. People might not understand that, this is the way you dress. They might look at you and think that you're making a mockery of it. So it's important to dress properly, one, for the judge, and two, for the jury. And another side reason that's similar to the jury reason, if you're representing yourself, you don't want your adversary to get an opinion of you and believe that they can run circles around you because they're an attorney and you're not. Theoretically, you're at a disadvantage if you represent yourself pro se, because the attorney knows the procedures, the court rules, and you might not be as familiar with them. But you still have a shot, and if you put in the time and effort, you can do a darn good job representing yourself. But look the part, because you don't want to give a psychological advantage to your adversary by dressing inappropriately, by coming into court in shorts, or coming into court, with that bright, sparkly sequenced jacket, because psychologically it gives your adversary sort of a leg up, and they're going to have a different feel or a belief about you, whether it's true or not. So those really are the three reasons. It's kind of like 2.5 reasons, but those are the reasons why you want to dress appropriately. And now I just want to kind of wrap up by, again, reminding you what you should be wearing. And again, for men, it's a pair of dress pants, a button-down shirt and tie, and a sports jacket. If you don't own a sports jacket or a suit, unlike the guy with the sequins jacket, you would be better off just coming in a button-down shirt, ladies' skirt or suit pants or something like that, and a blouse. You don't need to go out and spend money that you might not have on a brand new wardrobe for your court appearance. Just try to blend in and, just be as close to dressed as an attorney as possible. It's just going to help you in the long run. And again, for those of you who might not have a significant amount of money stashed away to go out and buy a new wardrobe, that's okay. Just don't wear things that people are going to sort of be distracted by. You're always better off to be relatively plain. Flashy is not the way to go, because it's distracting and it makes people sort of take you less seriously. And I just want to end by saying one thing. I am a strong believer in being your own person and being an individual, and not necessarily conforming to what society says you should do. Unfortunately, the court system is a more formal and rigid system, and it's not the place to go express yourself. Like that movie Office Space, it's not where you want to go and show off your pieces of flair. You want to just blend in and look like everybody else. that's not what I normally tell people in business or in their personal lives. I tell them to go out and be who you are, be an individual. But there are times in life where you have to sort of conform and follow these rules if you want to get the desired results, or at least the desired treatment that you deserve from a judge, a jury, and an adversary. All right, well, I hope that helps clear up why you need to dress a particular way and how you should be dressing, and that it makes it easier for you when you have to go to court, either as a witness or representing yourself, because it's just one less thing that you have to be nervous about or worry about, and you'll know that you'll be taken seriously. That's going to do it for today's video. If you have questions about this or any other videos in the series, give me a call at 973-949-3770, or you can email me at plamont@utlradio.com. I'd be happy to answer your question. If you have suggestions or you'd like to see another topic discussed, let me know. You can even just leave a comment below, and I will get a video together answering your question or discussing your topic. I also want to remind you to subscribe to the YouTube channel. That way, when new videos come out, you're going to be notified about it. We are going to be continuing this series about what to expect when you go to court. We'll be talking about how to address the judge, when to stand, when not to stand, what to do when you're arguing a case or a motion. So that's all coming up in future videos. So make sure you subscribe so you are notified when those videos come out. And finally, I just want to let you know, check out utlradio.com. It has all of the information about our shows, our interview schedule, what guests are going to be on the show. There's a ton of free information. There's a forum, there's a blog, so there's a lot for you to do on utlradio.com, and it's a great place to learn more about business, success, personal development, and the law. And we're continuing to update and upgrade the site and put more content on there and make more available to you to help you if you have to handle yourself either as an entrepreneur or in a court. So thanks for joining me. Thanks to all of you who have subscribed and follow me. And if you get a chance, leave me a comment below. Let me know that this is a good video, or however you feel about it, so that I get some feedback and continue to give you guys the content that you need. Thanks, and I'll see you next time.